Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio. We are going to go live in a little bit. Well, I guess we are technically live right now, but we're still waiting for everybody to come on. So I just wanted to go ahead and go live and see who all was coming in to join us. So hang out with us for a second until we get all the legendary ladies on with us, and we'll get started here in a little bit. It looks like we've already got Rachel in the chat. So get ready to talk about some time travel. I really appreciate that the legendary ladies came correct with the Google Doc, and they are prepared to talk about things I don't know about because I don't watch Legends of Tomorrow. So this is going to be a lot of fun. All right. So I do see Kat here. Hey, Kat, what's up?
How's it going?
Good. It's good. We're waiting on some other people. I made the boneheaded mistake of sending the wrong link out. So that's on me. So my apologies. But we'll be getting people in a little bit. Looks like we got Rachel and Claudia in. How you doing, Claudia? See you in there in the chat.
Welcome, guys.
And so we're waiting on Amy and Morgan, so they'll be here in a second. If you have any questions about time travel, about the legends and wherever they've gone in time, and some of the ways that Supergirl, Kat, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the show, but multiple ways of using time travel on Supergirl, which surprised me when I went back to look at it.
I watched pretty much up to this season, which I'm scared to catch up because I've heard, I think I watched up to the crossover of Crisis because I had to catch up for work. And scared to watch the rest. I don't know.
I mean, there's some good parts in it. It's a little. I think they had some problems due to obviously all the shows had some problems due to COVID-19 and the early shutdown of production. But there's some bright spots in there, namely Ramakon and who we called Pencil Skirt, but really she's Gamemne or Gemma Cooper, as they also call her on the show. So the Leviathan aspects are not what I anticipated, but they were still pretty enjoyable for us. So I think the post-crisis stuff was very confusing, just because it was it affected Supergirl probably more than all of the shows.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of things changed. Lex rewrote himself as a hero. And so that, totally changed all of the world and kind of the things that were going in there. Let's see. Oh, Rachel says the first 4 episodes after Crisis are good. So there's that.
So yeah, 4 out of how many?
So that's 10, 11, 12, and 13 there. So you'll have those to look for. I don't remember what episodes are, but I'm sure Rachel knows what she's talking about. All right, we got Morgan here. So we've got
Morgan.
2/3 of the legendary ladies.
Now, where did I put the doc you sent over, Rebecca? That is the question.
I don't even have it up.
That is a good catch. Just flying by the seat of her pants on this one.
I'm just chilling. Me and Morgan are the least prepared, which is why Amy was messaging us about how prepared she was.
Amy was like, I'm gonna research. I'm gonna do stuff. And we were like, nah, we're just gonna roll with it, see how it goes.
And I told Morgan me showing up was my preparation.
A funny story. I actually saw Amy in the dock this afternoon. You know how you can see people writing things?
Yeah.
And so I guess we saw each other and she sent me a message and I was like, I was about to try to figure out how to message you. So that was really funny. We were communicating through the Google Doc. So I guess we are the nerds there. So so we're just kind of chatting it up until Amy gets here. It looks like Leslie chimed in. Crisis affected Supergirl in a weird but not necessarily a good way. That's a fair assessment, I think. Yeah.
Sounds fun. I can't wait.
Where are you, Rebecca? Are you with Livewire there? And
I couldn't decide if I wanted to be with because this is on the Legion cruiser when they go to Fort Roz to investigate things about Rain.
Nice.
This was a Livewire swan song. R.I.P.
Oh,
yeah.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Maybe they'll bring her back at some point. Her and Mercy Graves.
I forget, like post-crisis, anything's possible.
Yeah, they could be like, you know how we killed Mercy for no reason? She's back. I think that they should use Crisis as an opportunity to just bring back all the characters they killed for no apparent reason.
I think that's a great idea. Because
did they start filming for this season yet, or are they still?
Good question. I don't think so.
It's at the end of the month, is what the word is on the street, like September 28th, something like that. So I think they're. And I also saw something. I'm not sure. I couldn't confirm it. If anybody knows in the chat, but I saw that Supergirl was going to have 16 episodes.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. I feel like the shorter seasons usually do better.
Yeah, I feel like that will be good for them.
They don't need the extra
those
6
extra
more episodes.
No, they just refine it down.
Yeah. Pick the most important parts of it and go with that. Really try to make those episodes make sense.
Yeah, seriously.
They had time to think about it, so that's good.
Yeah, they've had the season 6 better be the best season of the show ever.
Season 6 better be like just all Ramacon all the time. Just really, it's like, it's such a weird turn that they took where season 6 is all about Ramacon and Hope the robot. I don't really understand. And it's like, no, believe me, I talked to them. You're welcome.
You had a meeting with them.
I had a meeting. Yeah, and I was like, listen, I'm going to pitch you several hundred story ideas.
We have so many thoughts on how you can make this better. Claudia says, I binged season 5 last week and it's much better and more cohesive without the huge gaps between episodes. Now, that's an interesting observation. I wonder if we did binge it, would it be better?
I think so. When we binge the shows, they are better, which is why I tend to do it. But
I'm skeptical. I really.
I think it would be better than our like lived experience of season 5. I will say that much. Is it a better season in general if you binge it? Probably not. Is it easier on you as a person? Yes.
Easier on the palate, but at least you guys got to talk about it. I'm sure that the therapy sessions every week helped.
It helped. It helps.
Yeah, I don't think we would have made it through season 5 with that.
I was like, Rebecca, I don't understand. Why am I supposed to be scared of this corporation?
All they do is talk about launching a product.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm just flashing back to work with all these product launches.
Maybe
is that the fear I'm supposed to have? Yeah, I mean, It is scary. Like, oh my God.
October is coming. You guys should talk about that for your spooky season of Supergirl. Is how scary the corporation is.
We've never done a Halloween episode of Supergirl Radio. We'll have to think about that.
I would be down.
All right, looks like we got Amy. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Amy is here, the one who has prepared, the one who's ready.
You guys, I made such a long list. I am actually surprised how many time travel places, timey places that Legends has been to.
I'm not surprised that we don't know it all.
I'm not surprised about that at all.
True. Very true. I literally made a list, so I'm very excited I even put it in chronological order.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all should see this Google Doc. It really is.
Chronological by the episode or by the time period? Amy?
By the time period.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And I will say I did it all by putting it into a website and it did it for me.
Whoa. Well, at least you got some help. I will say I'm so prepared. I don't even know where this Google Doc is. I'm just living on the edge.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so good, this Google Doc.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you'll see that when I started putting all the stuff in, I was like, oh, look, I'm going to do all of this like thing to help us remember the episodes and who was in it and all that stuff. And then very slowly it just disintegrated into 4 numbers, the year, and that was it. I am shocked yet not shocked how much I do not remember from season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. It literally has drained from my brain.
Season 1 is just like a blank spot in my mind. Like, there's like sci-fi shows where they're like, I just can't remember. I think somebody Men in Blacked me, and
yeah, no, or
it won't let me remember.
Thing that Nate always has, he goes, and everybody.
I think they did that, but for all of season 1 on me.
Look, Hawkgirl's a barista.
Hawkgirl is a barista.
Hawkgirl is gone.
Poor Jax was always on the ship.
Hawkbro, when he went evil, was renamed Scythian Torville.
No, you're making that up.
You are not legit. And get this.
That sounds like a fake name. I don't think that's real.
Legit, you guys, there were aliens in season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow.
We will not be covering that for our alien segment of the hiatus.
There were alien meteoroids trying to destroy the world in 3 different time periods in season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow.
I feel like everything that Amy's saying could be an episode of season 1 or could be complete like BS, and I have no way to tell the difference.
That's the trivia show, really.
Literally.
True or false? Did this happen in Legends of Tomorrow?
I encourage you. It is not work appropriate. There are many 4-letter words that are not allowed for Facebook. But to you girls, I do recommend reading this document, at least from the season 1, because I added my own commentary in, and it is very amusing.
I just found the document.
Oh my God. So the document took like 3 hours for me to load, which doesn't make any sense because it's only 11 pages, not like 30. So I don't really.
We've had long.
It's seen worse. I don't understand. Rebecca, sometimes I open up the docs and like I have that Grammarly plugin and it'll go, this document is a little long. Did you intend this? And I'm like, no, I didn't intend it.
Did you intend this?
Did you intend this? It's like, you know what? Don't judge our documents, Grammarly.
Funny. That is so funny. Okay. Well, I guess since we are already sort of talking about it, I guess we should go ahead and get started. How long do you all have? Because I have a feeling we could go long. What's the good cutoff time?
I got about an hour. It's my mom's birthday, so
oh, happy birthday to your mom! Does she want to talk Legends?
I think her birthday gift is not to talk about Legends.
Mom, do you have opinions on time travel?
All right, so we'll shoot for an hour. We'll see if we can get all this time travel stuff in that time frame. So basically now we have video intros. So I'm going to play the intro, and then when it comes back, it's going to mute y'all, and then it'll play the video, and you're going to be muted. And when it's finished, we'll come back up and we'll get started. So enjoy this little 1 minute piece of entertainment, and we'll be right back and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Super.
I thought it was going good. Why didn't it play? Wait, why didn't it play? Hang on a second.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Supergirl Radio.
DC TV podcast. There's too many now! Exclamation point. Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Is Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Ooh, Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl
was
Radio.
Amazing.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired with the remaining 2/3 of the Legendary Ladies. We usually have 1/3 of them on Supergirl Radio, but we have the Legendary Ladies from the Legends of Tomorrow podcast.
We got the full set this time.
We have collected them all. But all the ladies from the Legends of Tomorrow podcast are joining us to talk about something they know a little bit about, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll ask them about it.
Don't even give that much. We know maybe very little.
They might not know about it, but they talk about it a lot. Time travel and how it is used on both Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, because Supergirl has surprisingly used time travel quite a bit. So welcome, Kat and Amy. Thank you for joining us on Supergirl Radio.
Hello.
Thank you.
we've been wanting to do this kind of a crossover. It's not really so much a crossover. It's basically like a Legends of Tomorrow podcast with me as a special guest.
You're our guest moderator is what you are. You organized this so incredibly well. I will tell y'all, you all know Legends of Tomorrow, we do not organize. We just go with the flow, a la Legends of Tomorrow.
We just go to where the time stream takes us.
I wish you could see our group message we send each other.
We're just like,
organized we are.
What day is it? Could we push it back?
If we do not change our recording time at least 3 times, it is not a Legends of Tomorrow podcast.
Our latest podcast has moved, I think, 3 times.
I think this is the third time.
Third time. And if you count making it recording later tomorrow, that's 4.
That's true.
And that was on me.
Well, thank you for setting aside the time to be on Supergirl Radio this week. We have been wanting to do it for a while, so I'm glad we're actually able to do it now. So, Amy, we like to, every time there's a first-time guest on Supergirl Radio, we like to talk to them about where they met the character of Supergirl. We've had Kat on before, but we've never had Amy on. So, Amy, when was the first time you saw or heard of Supergirl?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the first time I watched a full episode that involved Supergirl was the Flash's Supergirl crossover episode, where the ice cream episode. That's my key moment, is ice cream episode. I think I then went back and watched what was available of Supergirl season 1, and I think I've seen all of Supergirl season 1, and then. But I watched it after it had aired, and then that was it. I have seen sporadic clips, and I'm aware of a general idea of what's going on. But did I know there was time travel in Supergirl? Nope. So I have so many things I would like to catch up on, and Supergirl is not currently top of the list. We'll see how next season goes, and then if you guys advise it, I will put it at top of my list.
Okay, yeah, we'll let you know. Basically, seasons 1 through 3.
Okay,
you're good on that.
There you go. That I can do. I will bump season 1 to 3 up on my list.
All right, sounds good. Season 3 is where the time travel kicks in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it sounds like we have an echo somewhere. I'm gonna start muting people. Hopefully it's not me. Okay, so let's talk about time travel, because that is why we're all here. And I guess we'll start with the Legends of Tomorrow folks, because you deal with time travel quite frequently. Some could say every week. So we'll start talking about that, because Legends of Tomorrow, just to be upfront, I don't watch it. I listen to your podcast, but I don't watch it. So I kind of know about things, but you may have to explain some things to me. So what do we need to know? If there are other people watching or listening like me who don't actually watch Legends of Tomorrow, but know kind of the show exists and that there's time travel involved, what do we need to know about time travel and how it's used on Legends?
Not much.
Yeah, there are rules. Just know the rules and then completely ignore them.
Know the rules, write the rules down, rip up the rules, throw the rules away.
And also, like, they might not time travel like all the time. Yes. You know, I feel like, especially recently, they tend not to time travel.
And a lot of times it's not necessarily time traveling. It is taking someone from a time and traveling them to somewhere else. So there have been different types of time travel. Season 1 and 2 had kind of, season 1 we do not think of. Season 2 had aberrations. Season 3 had God. No, what were they called?
Time thingies.
Was this the League of...
No, the League of Time thingies. No, that was season 2. Yeah, season 3 was Aberration. Season 2 was the Doom Patrol.
Doom.
Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom.
I was like,
the wrong show. Is that what they were called in Legends too, though?
No, that's not what they were called. They were called something specific, and we wrote this down. I wrote it down somewhere.
Anachronisms.
Thank
says
you,
Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel. We had Anachronism season 2, Aberrations season 3, season 4 was Magical Creature.
So actually, Rachel says that season 3 had anachronisms. So,
nice.
So it's something. It's something.
At this point, I think we should just hire Rachel. I think Rachel.
You know how like TV shows have like continuity editors? Like we need just somebody with a memory for our podcast.
We're hiring Rachel as our script coordinator. That's it.
Yes.
We're done. Season 5 had encores. That I know.
What's an encore?
Okay, so an encore is a like the soul of an evil person from hell that was brought back.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Bonnie and Clyde
like
worked in an episode. So.
I forgot that they were called encores. If I'm being like 100% real,
I only remember we had our encore history segment.
Yes, I remember that,
and we really enjoyed it.
The name.
So there have been many time travels. Basically, the idea that I think the best time travel episodes that we have found are when they jump to the future. At least in my opinion, like I think we really like the future episodes, and we like the ones that really kind of let different characters play around in different times, and the ones where they actually do the time travel justice. Like we love the Civil War episode back in season 2, which was Abominations. Not only remember which episode
I remember Abominations. It's the only thing I remember. Danny makes a good point, which is that every season has its own Rubik's Cube.
Sarah Lance is the Rubik's Cube of next season.
That's true. Oh, mind blown. Which we call a Rubik's Cube like the random item that everybody has to like collect them. Like Pokemon, they have to collect them all. They have to get all the parts, and then they like put it together. And then with its powers combined, it doesn't matter because at the end of the season, it usually doesn't matter. But they're like the scattered parts that they have to go get. And like if they only put together the Rubik's Cube and like twist it right, they can insert random thing here.
They are always looking for something.
What was the Rubik's Cube from last season?
Was it
the actual encores?
No,
it was also the thread. The
loom of fate. The loom of fate.
I knew threads were involved.
There were threads. Cat's like there was sewing.
There was sewing.
The quilt of fate.
So Amy, you mentioned y'all prefer the episodes when they go into the future. Why is that? Is that because you don't have to worry about the history and
we don't have to do any research. So
to be fair, I like the research and some of my favorites is when we give Kat the research, because I always know I'm gonna come out with like one really amazing fact about whatever historical figure. I know that Genghis Khan killed a lot of people. I know that Bonnie from Bonnie and Clyde just wanted to be famous.
Look, I mean, a history paper is not about what history you put into the paper. It's how pretty you write it. So that's what I do.
I guess I spoke for the three of us, and I probably should have spoken just for me. I enjoy certain future episodes. When I was going back and looking at season 1 and seeing what time periods they went to in season 1, they went to a lot of future time periods that were 100% unmemorable. But we liked the episode.
I didn't remember that they went to the future in season 1. I'm going to be honest.
Ones, you guys. I like alternate realities. So I like seeing the futures that may or may not exist. The different 2046s, the different 2021s with Zari in the future, seeing old man Ollie, old man Barry. I like that kind of stuff because I think that the writers get a chance to really explore and they're not constrained by history. Not that they are constrained by history ever.
They're sure not.
They really don't super follow things that should be historically accurate.
They have access to the same history.com articles that we do, I believe. I tend to like the episodes where like the time period like ties into what theme they're going for or what like feeling they're going for. So when you're talking about like an ET kind of 80s movie and they go back to like Ray's childhood in the 80s. Like that's the kind of stuff that I like where they use the time period like thematically versus, sometimes they try to be really literal with like, this is the time period we're in. It doesn't always Doesn't always work.
I agree. I think that the theme is what I enjoy most of all for the time travel.
Because there's a lot of episodes. I was rewatching one in season 3 recently where they go back in time to a particular time period and literally are there for about 20 seconds, find their Rubik's Cube of the episode, and come back and then spend most of the time on the Waverider. And it was a really cool time period that they didn't really explore very well. So I think we get a little annoyed if there's a stream of episodes or a particular episode where they had an opportunity to use a time period really well that they didn't, or if they
were like a historical figure that they use poorly.
Yes.
And I'm thinking very specifically of the Jane Austen episode where I was so excited that they were going to have Jane Austen in it. And it was like, let's talk about romance novels. And I was like, you don't want to get into like more of the Jane Austen stuff, or okay?
And we also did so much, research on Genghis Khan. All he did was go on a scooter. So
the one thing that we missed on that history.com was his love of scooters, his well-known love of scooters.
Somehow it was hidden in that article. I don't know how I missed it.
So, what are your? So Morgan talked about like the sort of the 80s sort of feel to the time period. Do y'all have a favorite time period that the Legends have gone to?
The Beatles showed up once, and that was great.
I'm gonna have to look at the very detailed list that Amy got created for us in this doc.
Let's look
at
that.
I'll
list.
be back. I'm deep into this now.
I put together a list of all the time periods that I could find that were specific time periods that the Legends have visited. A couple are duplicates. There's actually a lot of duplicates. Like there's a lot of present days. There's a lot of 1970s, or one episode they were in 1969. The next episode they were still in 1969. But they visited between roughly 60 to 75 different time periods.
Wow.
As early as BC 4000, as late as AD 3000. And then we have ambiguous time periods. There's a lot of, quote, present day. There's something called the Temporal Gateway. Did you guys remember we had a Temporal Gateway?
I know. Is that really a thing? Are we sure?
What did he do?
It was in Crisis Part 4 where Stein dies. We probably should have remembered the place of his death.
So sad.
We have gone to 2213, the Clone World. We have visited the unnamed disco era time period in the Here I Go Again episode where Zari has her on repeat over and over again. I think I also put that was a particular time zone. Zari's brain. I think I listed that as a time zone. We had random 16th century England in which Shakespeare showed up. We have been in the present day, 2016 through 2020, multiple times. So many times I didn't even list all of them. They're very, very, very big fans of 1958 through 1975 and 1980. So roughly 20 time periods that they've gone to have been in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. They have only been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you count the Civil War era points in 1800s. They have been to 49 BC and 55 BC. One of those is Caesar's death. I don't remember where 55 BC was in. I'm pretty sure 55 BC was when they went back and, this was the Stonehenge episode. This was the one with Constantine's ancestor.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Clearly that one was my favorite.
We've gone to 1973 with Marie Antoinette. We've gone to 2040 with Beyrod and his parents in the future. We have rescued Barack Obama from Gorilla Grodd in 1980s. We have gone to 2213 Ava Clone World. We've also been to Newfoundland in 1000 AD, the episode where we meet Bebo, the god of war. Which Katie Lotz just posted on her Instagram, was the episode in which she is convinced Legends of Tomorrow jumped the shark and she wouldn't have it any other way.
I feel like that's probably pretty close to accurate. It's probably one of my favorite time periods too, because I felt like they really utilize the time period and utilize the fact that like these people are time travelers with the whole like, you know, stuffed animal that talks being worshipped as a god aspect. Like what would happen if, you know, modern day technology got into like an olden times
it wasn't
period.
an iPhone, but it was a stuffed animal.
It was really advanced technology for them, and so they were like, this is our god now, his name is Bebo. Bebo loves you.
So, I liked all the Wild West episodes that we...
Oh, the Wild West episodes have been good.
Because I love their costumes. That's what wins us over, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's good costumes we're in.
Yeah, I was remembering a specific like old Hollywood episode, not because I thought it was super duper memorable, but because everybody had like really great outfits that time.
Do you feel like they like recycle their outfits though? Because I feel like a lot of them start to look the same.
They might. I mean, the budget's only so big.
You gotta keep those outfits.
So, what are the pros and cons? The Legends time travel a lot. So, what are the dangers that they have to deal with?
Oh man, themselves
remembering
usually.
their own rules of time travel. That's
the dangers. I really do think it's that they screw up time and they got to fix it.
Yeah, I think
that's the big danger.
Was it the end of season 1 or the end of season 2 where they basically like broke time and they had to basically just fix it for the whole of the next season? So they break time sometimes. That's a bummer for them.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
One of the biggest consequences is that they have realized that a lot of their personal histories cannot be rectified. That there are Constantine and Sarah and Zari specifically who have all tried to change their past to affect the future. And then the future that they create is not a future that they can live with, or is literally a future where the Legends of Tomorrow turn into puppets and Zari turns into a cat. That happened after Constantine tried to save the life of someone he loves. Literally, history was like, can't figure this out. So that's one of the solid rules that has stuck with the show overall, is if you try to change your past to save and correct a trauma that you have had, like one of the main characters, it never goes well.
Yeah,
they really never fix it.
It's funny because they're almost consistent with that, but not quite. Because in season, I want to say 2 or 3, Amaya, who knew the whole time that her village gets like wiped out in the future, and that's like a thing that she knew, manages to like successfully save her village. So, I mean, it mostly applies across the board because this season we had a different version of one of our main characters, Zari, because of changing the timeline, basically changed everything and created a situation where the current version of that character like just did not exist. And because of budgetary reasons, they can't both exist on the screen at the same time. So she had to go back into her like mind palace or whatever at the end of the season. But so there are big repercussions. It's not standardized repercussions. It's like whatever, like different things. Sometimes they break time. Sometimes, you know, they make themselves like, you know, in the past or something. But yeah, the not being able to change your own like timeline, because Sarah's obviously wanted to save Laurel.
Yeah. And what's that about?
They can't allow it, Rebecca, is the thing. So they've gone to some real extents to be like, we can do so many other things, but we just can't do this one thing.
Just
so like
this one, even though Laurel fixed it for Sarah, but we're not going to do that. Yeah. I was wondering about that.
There's been so many episodes where Sarah's like, you don't think if I could change things, I would save Laurel? And we're like, seriously, you can't though? Like it doesn't.
Yeah. The other thing that's a pretty consistent time travel rule is that if something does happen in one of their paths or anything happens, it takes time for time to catch up to itself. So time has
usually half an episode at least.
Yeah, it's true.
So like time has to cement and solidify. So like, for instance, the episode where Ray, there's an episode where he goes back in time and he dies back in Little Ray time. So they have to go back and save Ray. the reason Ray is still on the ship is because time has not caught up with him, but it's currently catching up with him. So they only have a short amount of time with which to correct things. So that's a pretty significant consistency, is that if something changes in the past, takes a while.
Leslie makes a good point too, which is that earlier in the show, Professor Stein gets to keep his daughter, who is an anachronism. But I think even that took a while to kind of like set in stone and be like a real thing.
She never showed up again.
No.
I kind of forgot about her. I liked her when she was on the show.
I remember we were like, maybe she'll join the Waverider, and they were like, nah.
That's what I fear about Nick's daughter. She'll just disappear.
I didn't really put that together that there have been 2 random daughters.
I think I like Nick's daughter more, though.
Yeah, me too.
So I guess for me, a pro of the time travel is that at least those 2 rules exist. At least they don't spend too much time trying to go back and fix their own pasts, and that it takes time for time to solidify. Are there cons to it? That's an interesting question. Are there cons to this time travel?
Well, I mean, I guess you could ask OG Zari if there's, Zari 1.0, if there's cons to time travel. She's stuck in a totem. She's stuck in a bracelet. She's like, I love this bracelet. I have an unlimited amount of plaid flannel shirts in here. Got cable.
It's got cable.
So if people don't know about the Waverider, how would you explain it to people? Because there's certain ways that the legends do their time travel. So one of those is the Waverider. So how would you explain it?
It has 1 bathroom. That's it.
That's really important to know because it's a huge ship, but apparently they couldn't get the Property Brothers on there to like add an extra bathroom.
They couldn't. They were busy. In every time period.
They're like, oh God, those brothers so busy.
So basically, there is a place called the Temporal Zone, which exists outside of space and time. And the Waverider is a ship that can travel in and sort of just linger in that temporal zone. And in the temporal zone, time does not pass. When you're on the ship, time passes. You are aging. But around the ship is just like some sort of, it's just basically a vacuum of time. And so theoretically, the Waverider, while there, it's almost like the time travel speed force. It gives them access to other time periods. So they travel through the temporal zone to get to particular time periods. And when they're not traveling anywhere, that's where they chill. They don't go to just like 2020 and park the Waverider, which is a ship, for those of you who can't see it on the screen, with only 1 bathroom. They don't park the Waverider at like Arby's nearby and we're just gonna chill here. Also,
the only place that you can really park your Waverider is Arby's. That's
that's also a rule. It's a rule.
Yeah, I do love that they just like kind of kick it in the temporal zone. I feel like they've broken down in the temporal time zone before.
They have. How do they still have like fuel?
Well, don't think about it. They have. That's why they make those occasional pit stops to Arby's. It runs on big beef and cheddars.
The Waverider is powered by a temporal core, which Gideon helps to maintain. So if you've seen The Flash, you know Gideon. Gideon is basically an artificial intelligence who is in love with Rip Hunter. I mean, what? And she is
one of the real romances of the show, I think.
She's the AI that controls everything. She also occasionally puts her team members through emotional trauma to make them realize how much they enjoy their family members and their team members. The other kind of significant point to know about in the time travel kind of roadmap, if you will, is something called the Vanishing Point. And the Vanishing Point is a point where literally time does not pass. If you are in the Vanishing Point, you can remain your particular age forever and indefinitely. And that's where the Time Masters from season 1, who I forgot existed until I read this document.
Yeah, I saw Time Masters and I was like, what is that? Is that like a new TV show?
Yeah. But that's basically, that's a rundown of the temporal identity of the show. You've got the temporal zone, which is essentially time speed force. You have the Vanishing Point, and the main way that Gideon, the artificial intelligence on the Waverider, knows that something has gone wrong is they get what's called time quakes. And basically, if you imagine that time is like just a giant line that exists surrounded by the temporal zone, anytime something happens, it's like a tectonic shift, and the ripples send out essentially a time quake, which then bounces around the temporal zone, hits the Waverider, and Gideon's like, something's up.
So does that create like a butterfly effect, or
no?
It just affects the
basically it would be like, okay, so imagine Jello. You know when you shake Jello and it just jiggles, but nothing in the Jello. Like if you have an apple slice in the Jello, if you shake the Jello, the apple slice doesn't go anywhere, but the whole thing is jiggling. So the Waverider doesn't go anywhere. It's just that the whole Jello of the temporal zone is jiggling. And that is alerting the Apple / the Waverider that something has changed.
And in season 1, there were the Time Masters, and they were in charge of like protecting the timeline and making sure the timeline didn't get messed up. And then they kind of went away at the end of season 1, and they were replaced by the Time Bureau. Basically, Rip was like, what if we took this idea, but we made it like into an organization with middle managers? And then the Time Bureau was around for a couple of seasons, and that's where Ava became the head of it after Rip, R.I.P. Rip, never forget how annoyed we were by you. After he tragically for Gideon got killed off the show in like half of a scene.
So for the Time Bureau, what do they do? What is their main deal?
That's a good question. They became very much a government entity in season, what was it, 4, I think?
4.
Like they were like they were like trying to get funding from the government. They were like, here's our proposal for our budget. So it got weird.
So that was when they had the escaped magical fugitives. And so basically, so Time Bureau started in season 3 when there were the aberrations. I pulled that up, Rachel. Nice. I saw that. Season 3. So Time Bureau started in season 3 when there were aberrations. And aberrations were things, particular people or things from one time period that existed in another. Like dinosaurs existed in current modern day Los Angeles, or Julius Caesar existed at a frat party in Aruba. So when these things happened, it was the Time Bureau's job to be like, you, sir, Julius Caesar, you need to be picked up and put back into your time period. Or dinosaurs, please go back to the Cretaceous period. So that was their job. And then season 4 rolls around, and these are magical creatures like unicorns and fairy godmothers and homicidal unicorns. I already said that, but
I guess that's the point where the federal government was like, things are getting nuts.
You got to help us out.
Coloca.
We are cutting your funding. We can't have these unicorns running around biting off nipples. A real thing that happened in the show.
And you see the nipple.
We don't like to talk about it. It's still very fresh for us.
But anyway, that's basically what the Time Bureau does. It is run by Ava, who is everybody's favorite character now. Like, seriously, we all love Ava.
We do.
But also the Time Bureau doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, so Ava kind of jumped ship, pun intended, onto the Waverider at the end of, I think, season 4, and she's kind of just been a co-captain this season. I think they shut down the Time Bureau. They were like, you know what, we can't, support the health care of the employees, or who knows. It got really weird where I was like, why are they asking the federal government for funds? Like, did we know that this was a government entity? Like, since when? Who in the government put Rick Hunter in charge of anything? Like, come on.
Well, so he was dead by season 4.
Is the Arrowverse just trying to get rid of all of their organizations? Supergirl,
I think so. I think they're just
DEO?
shutting it all down. Shutting it down. They're like, we're going off the grid now.
So before we wrap up some Legends of Tomorrow time travel talk, is there anything else that is like really crucial to know about how the Legends travel through time?
I think Amy was able to describe it all better than me and Morgan could.
On a ship. They get on a ship.
and they fly away.
They go through that thing, and then there they are.
I think
time travel.
Time travel.
Okay. Here's something else funny to know. They have something on board the Waverider called the Fabricator. And the Fabricator is essentially like a replicator from Star Trek. So say they're going to go back to the Wild West or Victorian England. They need clothing appropriate to said time period. So they have Gideon make it. And at one point, when Constantine tries to go travel back in time, Zari has Gideon make Constantine underwear that's time period appropriate that has a tracker in it. I only discovered that recently when I was rewatching an episode, and discovered that I appreciate Constantine a lot more once you actually like the character.
Yeah, I bet that's true.
Yeah,
that's you turn that corner on him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes total sense. They would need to be able to blend in to their time periods, so that's very cool. And actually, the history of undergarments is very fascinating. I went to a Dragon Con panel about that. It got a little weird, but it was interesting.
Maybe we'll do a history.com episode about that.
All that underwear.
You totally should. It's fascinating. Well, I guess due to time, let's get into some Supergirl stuff. So, Morgan, if you want to help me out with this, I know your allegiance is sort of divided in this episode. So, if you want,
I should in theory know the most, and yet I feel like I know the least.
You're doing double duty in this episode. So, I guess for Supergirl, time travel really starts with the introduction of the Legion of Superheroes. And if you don't know what the Legion of Superheroes is, it's a team of superheroes. Obviously, they are characters from the future, from the 31st century, and they come back in the form of Mon-El. Mon-El goes off at the end of season 2. He's going to be affected by the lead in the air, and he could die. So Kara puts him in her pod because there's lots of pods on Supergirl. So many. It's so convenient to have a pod just laying around. Mon-El goes off into the pod. He gets trapped in the future. He travels 1,000 years into the future and spends 7 years there, while Kara, meanwhile, on Earth 38, only experiences 7 months with him being gone. So Mon-El goes to the future. He meets the Legion of Superheroes. They're inspired by Supergirl, and so they form their team. So he comes back to the present. Is that how you would say that? With Brainiac 5 and Emma Ardeen, who is also referred to as Saturn Girl. So the Legion of Superheroes comes back because they need to fight.
And Brainy, right? Did you say Brainy?
Yeah, Brainiac 5.
Nice.
I said his formal name.
Oh, you said his formal name. I'm on a more like casual.
You're in a first name Brainy basis. Yeah. So the Legion has to fight what they call the Blight, which actually is Pestilence, which is one of the world killers in season 3, who happens to be Supergirl Radio's favorite world killer.
The best one. She
was the best.
She didn't even have to be convinced to be evil. They were like, hey, would you like to be evil? And she's like, sweet.
So
take over me.
Grace was awesome. So the Legion, they had to fight Blight, but the reason they ended up being on Earth was because when they were on a mission out in the future, they hit a wormhole and they were transported 12,000 years into the past. And when that happened, they decided to put themselves into cryosleep, and they were awoken in their new time period, which is where the Super Friends meet them because a torpedo hits their ship in 20.
I was like, a tornado, like the Wizard of Oz.
I wish it was. I wish it was that. I just read it wrong.
That would have been incredible.
But a torpedo hit their ship, I believe, in the season 3 premiere. So they basically were sometime in the future. They sort of happened to get some time travel, timey-wimey stuff happened. So they put themselves in cryosleep. And so when the Super Friends reconnect with Mon-El, he is just kind of woken up from the cryosleep, and Saturn Girl and Brainiac 5 are also in the cryosleep. And so they have to get woken up as well. So those are kind of the main 3 guys of the Legion of Superheroes. And they have these handy dandy things called flight rings. And they're pretty cool. So flight rings allow you to do a whole bunch of stuff. You can fly, obviously, because it's called a flight ring. Sometimes they have protective barriers, so like a force field belt sort of thing. Brainiac 5 in the comics creates something called a force shield belt, I think is what it's technically called. But they do have some protective power. But what it's used for mainly in season 3 is that Kara needs it to do a little time traveling in the season 3 finale. Morgan, do you remember this incident at the end of season 3?
I do. It's vague. It's a vague memory. I'm going to be honest, but I do remember that she like time travels, because I remember thinking it's almost as if she's learned nothing from her good friend Barry about how time travel goes awry. But
or anything on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, or like just any conversation with basically any other show. I think that she could have been set correct, but what happens is it just like everybody gets killed and she's like, I can fix this by going back like 25 seconds in the past.
Yeah, so Rain comes in and she I think she heat visions Mon-El. She kills Mon-El. She kills Allura, who is Kara's mother, and she kills Samantha Arias. And so Kara is obviously devastated by all of this. And when she sees everyone's dead bodies laying around, she happens to also see Mon-El's Legion flight ring. So she grabs it and she tells I think it's Wynn and Alex, hey, find me a time disruption. And so apparently if you have a time disruption and you use a Legion flight ring, that equals time travel.
Sure.
So she does.
Okay, I actually really like that. Sorry, I'm like timey-wimey nerding, soaking this up.
Amy's like the only one on our podcast about a time travel show who understands time travel.
It would be like, those time quakes I was talking about. It would be like a tectonic plate. It would be like the point where that intersects in time. You can sneak in and shift stuff.
Yeah, so Kara ends up, I don't know how she knows exactly when to go to the exact point, but she does go back to try to redo. She gets like a mulligan, essentially, to try to do something differently so that she can stop Rain from killing everyone. And
she's just like, that doesn't count. Let me do that swing.
That one was garbage. Let me try again. So that's what happened. And like on Legends, when there are repercussions, there were, in the case of Kara, repercussions in which she created the Red Daughter Supergirl, who ends up in
That's how that Red Daughter
Russian country was it supposed to be that she was in?
Kaznia.
The
fictional country of Kaznia that has been referenced in many DC iterations.
Evil Supergirl?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no,
evilish. She was more like misled Supergirl.
Yeah, propagandized by Lex Luthor. Supergirl.
I feel like she didn't show up too often as you would have expected.
She sure did. She spent a lot of that season like punching rocks and doing like building projects. She was with the Kazanian property brothers, just like rehabbing homes.
Well, at least she was able to get the property brothers on her.
Don't worry, every place she went in, 2 bathrooms.
Wow. She didn't need it, but doesn't matter because she's evil.
Matter. Yeah, exactly. She's like, I want an extra bathroom more than I'll even need.
Yeah, Red Daughter shows up mostly in the second half of season 4. She gets finally brought in. She's teased throughout the first part of the season.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the time repercussion of Kara's actions there.
Right. She does save all of her friends and family, but she does end up creating a Russian Supergirl out of that. So there is that. And I guess I should mention some of the Legion, sort of the Legion technology that the Legion of Superheroes utilizes. They do have what they call the Legion Cruiser. I think I have a picture of it in here. Let's see, where is the Legion Cruiser? So the Legends have the Waverider. The Legion of Superheroes has the Legion Cruiser. So
I would think more like a motorcycle, not like, I don't even know what to call
it. It looks a little bit like something from Tron.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like Tron.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it does. It does look a little bit like Tron, and but it has a lot of cool features inside it. We actually got to spend a lot of time in the Legion Cruiser in season 3, especially in Fort Roz. The episode Waveriders' final episode, her swan song before her death, R.I.P. But it has technology that you would sort of associate from the future. It has like a hologrammy type tech. There's also actually, what I thought was cool that I didn't notice until I rewatched it this week is that there are Legion of Superheroes. They have branding on the ship, which I didn't realize. They have their Legion logo all over. Imra's down here fixing the ship. So even if it is future tech, it still breaks down and they have to fix it. So there's a captain's chair. They have control boards that have, I don't know what language that is technically. We'll have to, if anybody in the chat knows, they do have like a sort of an airlock system where they can attach to other ships.
They can power walk through dramatically
in slow motion.
There has to be mist, as everyone knows from the future always has mist.
They also have, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but they have plant.
Yeah, they also have some nice house plants. Like you got to keep a little bit of greenery in there, or else you're just gonna go stir crazy.
Yeah, you're just gonna get it's gonna seem really sterile. You need something a little homey. What is also interesting that they haven't explored on the show is that the Legion of Superheroes in the comics have what they call a time bubble. So, so
amazing.
It's exactly what you think it is. It's a bubble that travels through time. Nothing real complicated about that.
It's like the jump ship, which I forgot to tell you all about.
What's the jump ship?
It's our time bubble.
Yes, it's basically the Waveriders like little shuttlecraft. So it can also travel through time, but I'm going to guess it has a very small bathroom.
It's when Charlie doesn't want to be in an episode, she uses it.
When Charlie is like, you know what, I'm tired and I just want to go to a punk show, that she just skedaddles out of there in the jump ship.
Episodes and episodes. And then, Sarah might meet Wild Dog with the jump ship.
Sarah uses the jump ship to hop to other Arrowverse shows just to hang out with the other characters and then come back.
Well,
that's Wild Dog, though.
You can't just simultaneously take someone and go drop them off in a particular time period. Like you have to go in a vessel of some sort.
Yeah, I feel like the dropship is kind of like their Uber, where they're like, we gotta go.
Yeah. Time travel.
That makes sense. If you don't want to take the entire Waverider, you can take something smaller. Yeah, the time bubble in the comics is invented by Brainiac 5, so it's weird to me that he has not invented something like that on the show. But Brainiac sometimes is not the smartest character, even though technically he probably should be. I was curious about time spheres because on The Flash, they have something similar to time bubbles called the time sphere. And I thought that maybe The Flash had created that to be like the time bubble, but actually in DC Comics, there are things called time spheres. They are similar to the time bubble, but the time bubble has proven more durable than other time travel devices like the cosmic treadmill of the Flash, which was obliterated when in a collision. Y'all will find this interesting with Rip Hunter's time sphere. So apparently Rip Hunter in the comics is responsible for the time spheres.
Sounds like Rip.
And
classic Rip.
It also lacks the.
That looks like a Rip invention.
It really does. They just made it a big bubble.
Particular one. I realize that's Eobard, but it looks like Rip.
It kind of does.
Yeah. So I want to apologize to the Flash. I thought they were just copying the time bubble from the Legion of Superheroes, but that's actually the time sphere is a real thing in DC Comics. So that's pretty cool. So the time-ish bubble exists in the Arrowverse. I'm just disappointed that the time bubble doesn't exist on Supergirl as of yet.
So we have a question. What about time couriers? Have they mentioned that? We have not. Amy, what about time couriers?
Time couriers are an invention, probably due to Rip Hunter. I'll give him the credit that he made for the Time Bureau. And I guess that goes against exactly what I just said, that you cannot just tap a button and travel in time. The time courier is basically usually some sort of watch, and you can just boop-de-boop, tap where you want to go, and it pops a portal up to whatever time period you want to go in. So very useful when, say, you have Julius Caesar at a frat party in modern day, and you'd like to get Julius Caesar back to Rome so he can get murdered. You can just boop, boop, show up at the frat party, grab JC, and boopity boop, drop him back off to get murdered.
Very convenient.
But it is an interesting invention because it did open up the universe a lot, because you really did have to take the Waverider somewhere or have to take the jump ship somewhere. And we have established as a podcast that one of the things that really made Legends get kind of find its footing is when they realized that they wrote a story better if they got the opportunity to pair people up together or put people up into smaller groups and have those in groups participate in little mini missions of their own. And sometimes that literally has them existing in different time periods. So having a time courier that allows someone who's existing at the modern day time bureau to walk onto the Waverider and then literally also immediately walk into Victorian England right away made things a lot easier. And essentially, now that I think about it, I think that the Waverider oftentimes stays in the temporal zone, which keeps it a lot safer. You know, if you happen to land it in the Vikings time period, I'm sure the Vikings could throw a couple of rocks at it and damage and dent it.
So yeah, you don't want to do that. So.
Yeah, there are points where the Waverider has been actually attacked by the outside forces. So when it's in the temporal zone, it is safe from murderous and homicidal Vikings.
That's important.
Very important.
That's very important. Okay, so just to get to the last bit of how Supergirl has used time travel, it's kind of a unique thing. I don't know if other people consider it time travel, but Mixyaz-Pitalik considered it to be time travel, so I'm including it in our list. So Morgan, do you want to explain to the other legendary ladies what the 100th episode was like? What was the premise of Mixie and what he was doing?
Sure, it was a super life. Basically, it was Mixie got to talk to Kara about the Kara and Lena fight. You know, as your enemies often do, and want to console you about your fight with your best friend. And he took out like a bunch of tapes and showed her key moments where she could have told Lena the truth, and in fact, arguably it would have made more sense. And he was like, this is what would have happened if you had done it, and you can kind of go back and you can fix things with Lena. They all had fun friends like titles, like the one where Lena decided to work with Lex. So he took her back to key moments throughout the show's run where she Mixie flicks where she could have very easily told Lena the truth, but then chose not to, allowing Kara to kind of like live through the repercussions of what telling Lena at certain points in time would have done to her future. Spoiler alert, all death. Yeah. Everyone, every single timeline was rocks fall, everyone dies.
It's almost like a time thought experiment.
Yes.
The what if, but she actually gets an opportunity. So she can like go back to point A, live it, see the repercussions of point B, and hop back and be like, no, bad idea.
Yes. So yeah, she gets to experience it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he would be like, what if that would be great on Legends. It's kind of like a perfect setup.
Supergirl does more time travel than Legends.
You'd be surprised.
I've been to 68 different time periods, okay?
That's true. Supergirl's only been to only had a couple mulligans. So I mean, and if you think about it, It's a Super Life, the 100th episode, was a series of mulligans where she could go back, and it was like, what if I told Lena as soon as I met her? And it was like, everyone dies. She was like, cool. All right, let's tweak that. And then he shows her like a different, what if you had told Lena here? And she's like, okay, cool. I'm going to tell Lena there. And it's like, me and Lena, we're best friends. We're taking down the world. Uh-oh, everyone's dead again.
So at least we're best friends. I mean,
but at least we're best friends, I guess. And then in the last timeline, Lena is like, I have a kryptonite heart and I will kill everyone. I'm dressed like a crow. So it really goes like up and down. It turns out that there was no great time to tell her. Convenient for the show.
I still think, even with that, there was a good time.
Yeah, there sure was. There sure was.
For sure.
What's it called? What's this system called that lets her do this?
Question.
The time tapes.
He has the mix flicks, which is basically, but it's fifth dimensional powers. Mixyaz-Pitalik is a fifth dimensional imp, who he's a magical being, and in the premise of the episode, he comes back to help Kara because he's lost his powers, but he can only use them to help the people he has, quote, wronged. So in season 2, he sort of messes with Kara and tries to get her to marry him. And it's a delightful episode written by Sterling Gates. Everyone should watch it. But he sort of messes with Kara. And so she is the last person on his list that he needs to help and help her with his powers. So he can only get them back if he helps somebody that he has wronged. So basically, he uses snapping powers to get them in and out.
At least someone does.
He's like the ghost of Christmas future.
He is. Yeah, it's very, I mean, the episode's very, like, It's a Wonderful Life, basically. It's like, revisiting moments from your past and seeing if you could, do things differently.
But the downside to that is in one of the timelines, my favorite one, the Metallo-Lena timeline, where she doesn't know who Kara is and she tries to kill her with the kryptonite heart. His power goes away and they have to go find Hat's hat. Do you remember that?
I do remember that because I was so excited about Hat's hat. Just for a point of reference, there's a character on Supergirl. His name is Hat. He has a hat. You are what you like to wear, apparently. And he became my favorite character that season.
It would be sad if your name's Hat and you don't like hats.
How sad would that be? What if he was like, you know what? My name is Hat. I just don't have a hat face.
It doesn't fit.
Just don't have the head for it.
I just don't have the head for it.
Opportunity for Cat to have a cat. Why did not?
And I don't. You know what's so funny? And as a cat, I don't like cats, and so I can understand if the other cat doesn't want a cat.
Well, in Catco, there is a pink cat that is like a ceramic cat.
So she likes cats.
Yeah, a decoration in Catco. And also, Cat Grant had cat eyeglasses. Cat eye glasses.
Playing with the name then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. I'm happy.
She had cat associations. But yeah. So the 100th episode dealt mainly in magic. Is how that time travel. So he used different physical things to do it, like the snapping and the mix flicks and the tapes, the beta mix tapes.
The beta mix tapes. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was very well done.
Surprisingly for season 5, very well done episode. But yeah, so there were several different timelines that they jumped in and out of, but none of them really stuck because Kara decided that she wasn't gonna deal with, she was like, fine, whatever, Lena, if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm not going to deal with you anymore. So that was kind of
I tried to fix it a bunch of times. Everyone died.
I can't deal with it anymore. So that is kind of the basic of how Supergirl uses time travel. A couple of different ways: Legion of Superheroes, the Legion Cruiser, the Flight Ring, and the Mixed-Pitalik snapping, which is the only time a character has snapped on Supergirl. To our great dismay, when they had a character named Snapper Carr, who snaps all the time in the comics. But who cares about the comics, really? So I'm just bitter, really. That's all it is. So I wanted to point this question to you all, since we're talking about time travel and the Arrowverse. Would you consider Crisis on Infinite Earths to be time travel?
Oh, that's such a difficult question.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like technically it's not
part of it. I don't know, because it changes the
timeline. But was it technically? I think it's not technically time travel, but it did change the timeline.
It altered the timeline, which I guess we will qualify as some version of time travel. But I think that there is a distinction to be made between the idea of time travel and alternate universes. Because if you're time traveling on one universe, that's one thing. But then if you're traveling to an alternate universe, that's like a time. It was like on Lost. Morgan, you'll get this. It'd be like season 6 when you did the flash sideways. So they had the flashbacks and then they had the flash sideways. And the flash sideways was the what ifs. So I think that
we're all living in the flash sideways now.
Universes. Yeah. Please, can we not do flash sidewayses? No flash sidewayses. But I really, really want to steal these flight rings from cool. Supergirl. I think that would be wicked. And I really I feel like in a way, we sort of get the what ifs like of the snapping, a lot on Legends anyway, because a lot of it literally, if something happens in the past, the what if rolls up and Gideon is like, oh, this is what happened. This is what's wrong. So we get to see that a lot. And I feel like Zari even can manipulate. And she's done that before. Zari 1.0 has actually plugged in a potential change and analyzed what the future would be and been able to say yes or no to that particular change. So they kind of already do that on Legends.
Yeah, and I feel like we've gone to the future in Legends a couple of times, like different alternate futures where it's like, this is what this would happen, and boy, is Oliver mad now, and like stuff like that. So.
Well, that's a good distinction about Crisis on Infinite Earths, because we have Supergirl has actually had lots of weird things like that with the post-Amadei world. At one point, we had some things that were changed about the universe, and then post-Crisis changed a whole bunch of other things. So it's very confusing. So we're just trying to live in it now, whatever this post-Crisis world we're currently living in. So that's good to know. Well, do you all have time for a little snap judgments? You want to play snap
never done this before.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to play a little intro, and then we'll come back and we'll make some snap judgments. In the game of snap judgments, each person is presented with 2 options, but must only choose one. First instincts are recommended, and explanations are unnecessary. All right, everybody in the chat, if you want to play along, you can do that as well. You can make these choices. So, Morgan, would you like to do the honors of introducing the snap judgments?
Of course. So we're going to do some snap judgments. They're all, as you would imagine, time travel related. So the first one is, which ship would you rather fly in, the Waverider or the Legion cruiser?
The Waverider. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I got to go the Waverider, even though I have to say, that one bathroom is a real problem.
It is. So we could get Red Sun Supergirl, and
we'll get Red Sun Super. She'll renovate. She'll put in an extra bathroom. Her and the Property Brothers.
I love the Legion Cruiser, but I think the what did you call it that creates the different time period clothing?
Fabricator.
Oh, the Fabricator.
I think that puts it over the edge. So I would probably say Waverider.
Yeah, it's a solid ship. Okay, would you rather travel to the past or travel to the future?
Oh God, probably the past, because who the hell knows where that future is heading.
Listen, I think in any other year I would have said the future, thinking it would be brighter and better for all of us. But in 2020, I'm going into the past. To the past.
Past for sure. I wouldn't want to go to the future and see something of my own life and then wonder my entire rest of my life, did I make a decision because that's what the future is, or did I make a decision because it's free will? Don't like that.
Yeah, I go back and forth on this one all the time, but I think you guys make a good case for the past, so I'm going to say past on that one.
Listen, if I wake up in a couple days and another state is on fire, I don't want to know. I'm going to like the 80s. I'm going to go watch E.T. in the theater or something.
we just had an earthquake.
We had an earthquake on the East Coast. It was very upsetting for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an earthquake at like 2 a.m, and I was still up, and I was like,
no.
"What was that?"
Because Mike told me he felt it very clearly, but I was dead asleep. So
I woke up everybody in the house. I was like, "What do you mean?"
That's it. It's 10 times.
I shook. I didn't feel that, and I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh man, it was an earthquake." This is the second earthquake in the tri-state area in my lifetime, at least.
Yeah, the first time I was actually on the beach, and I thought I had tried to sit down in a chair and missed. It turns out no.
That one was worse. The original one was worse. This one was like one shake, and I'm like, oh. What was that? Am I going crazy? It's 2 o'clock in the
morning. No, it's 2020. Anything is possible now. Okay. Better ship captain, Sarah Lance or Brainiac 5?
Sarah, come on.
Sarah. I do not feel my glare through the screen right now.
I know. It's definitely Sarah Lance. Brainy is the world's smartest robot. But, I mean, he gets outsmarted all the time. So I think I'm going to put my trust in Sarah.
Sarah never gets outsmarted.
I might object here and say Brainiac 5 just because he can do multiple things at the same time. Like Sarah can do that.
Okay.
I don't know, in different places, though.
Sarah does have a very solid co-captain, though.
Yeah, that's true. And if Sarah puts her mind to something, she can do it. So
does Brainiac make witty puns before they go on an adventure? I don't think so.
He might make awkward puns.
Yeah, more like awkward puns.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you are stuck in the Vanishing Point, which character of Steel would you rather be stuck with? Kara Danvers or it says Nick Zano, and I just blanked on the name of the character, or Nate.
Or Nate. Sorry, I see. I don't watch the show. I don't know. I think I copied the wrong thing from his bio thing.
What was amazing was that I was like, I'll just correct that in my mind, and then my mind blanked on the character name.
I think
Nate. Yes.
Yeah, Nate or Seth or
out with during that time period of crisis, Nate, because. So Kara had a lot going on during crisis. She was like a bit upset. So I feel like she'd be a downer, and Nate wouldn't be. So.
Is this the Vanishing Point just like currently, or is this a particular time?
I think anytime.
Okay, so the question is, are we trying to escape the Vanishing Point?
Or are we trying to escape the Vanishing Point, or are we trying to throw like a kegger? Because that's a different...
Yeah, we're trying to escape Kara. Kegger, Nate.
Kegger,
if we're just chilling, Nate. If we are actively trying to get out of the Vanishing Point, Kara.
I'm going to go with Kara regardless, because I feel like if we're just chilling, she's gonna have come prepared with some classic movies and some pot stickers, and all Nate is gonna be doing is like that shots. And I'm like, that's gonna get tiring.
Yeah, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get tired.
But so much historical knowledge. He's gonna know so much about Genghis Khan.
That's true, but when he's super drunk, is he gonna know more than Kat does?
Probably not. But then also on the flip side, aren't you gonna get tired of pot stickers? Like I feel
but she also brings a lot of. She usually has a lot of pizza with her too. Donuts.
Okay. You never get tired of pizza.
That's true. No one does.
Tired of pot stickers.
Yeah, I'd probably say Kara in both situations.
Okay, better artificial intelligence. Hope or Gideon?
This is Sophie's choice for Morgan.
This is really really cruel for Rebecca to do to me.
I think the fact that Gideon can make someone literally realize how much they love their team members, like through a thought experiment, is pretty cool. Like to me, Gideon has a heart. So
Gideon has an accent. So
that's also true.
It's a very classy accent. Like I feel like Gideon would watch like British period dramas with me and like crime procedurals, and she would like guess with me who did it. However,
but she'll still guess with you.
Yeah. However, if I watched a crime procedural with Hope, she would get ideas and then go kill somebody. And so, I mean, I feel like I'm safer with Gideon, but I like that unpredictability of Hope. So I'm going with Hope.
I think I like the safety net.
Fair.
Yeah, Hope would try to kill you, so I would probably pick Gideon.
I don't want to die. So.
I think the key is befriending Hope, and then she's just gonna try to kill people that you have a personal grudge with.
Okay,
so that's probably not great for you either. Like you're like, oh, I got so annoyed by this person. She's like, do you want me to kill him? No.
And if they don't die, then that person's gonna try killing you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like my choice is definitely a huge mistake, and yet here I am making it. Okay, our last snap judgment. If you had to protect the timeline, would you want help from the Time Bureau or the Legion of Superheroes?
See, I would say the Legion of Superheroes, because Time Bureau doesn't have many people working for them. Gary will screw something up.
I was going to say, they put way too much power in Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on whether or not Ava's leading the particular mission.
But even Ava, she screwed up in the past too. Like
that's also true.
I would like to hang out with Ava. If I'm gonna die and the timeline is screwed up already, I want to hang out with Ava. But if I actually want to save the timeline, I guess the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, I'll go with the Legion of Superheroes too. I'll give them a shot. Sorry, Time Bureau.
Yeah, I feel like the Legion of Superheroes never created anachronisms or like encores or
died though. So
yeah, they did die in a lot of different scenarios in which Kara told Lena the truth. So as long as you're not involved in an interpersonal conflict between Kara and Lena, I think Legion of Superheroes is the way to go.
And see, they died. We wouldn't. So
it's true. That's true. We just take a giant step back as it's happening.
And you might also get a Legion ring out of it. They may make you a future Legionnaire. Yeah, I would definitely pick. I'd pick the Legion for that one.
Yeah, down.
All right. Well, let me play our little bumper music and we'll wrap this puppy up. No judgments on your snap judgments. All right, well, that is going to do it for our time travel discussion with Kat and Amy and Morgan from the Legends of Tomorrow podcast, and I guess me. I guess I'm also here. But Kat and Amy, where can our listeners find you and the Legends of Tomorrow podcast on the internet?
Amy, I'm sure you actually know the email, so you go first.
Y'all can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and all your common podcast places at the Legends Podcast. Technically, it's DC TV or DC's The Legends of Tomorrow podcast. But on Twitter, it's legends_podcast. You can email us thelegendspodcast@gmail.com. We have a pretty significant hiatus right now. So we have been doing a couple of fun episodes. Some have been Legends related, some have not. We are recording one in the next couple of days that I know our listeners will really, really enjoy, bringing back a guest star whom I know all our listeners will enjoy.
Might we say a special guest?
So special.
A recurring special guest star. We have also been doing some really interesting discussions that have been a little bit more serious than what we've done before. We've had a discussion of queer representation in media, which was a 2-part episode, which I am very proud of. I think all of us are. And we really encourage anyone, whether or not you listen to this podcast or to Legends on a regular basis, to look into it. It is a very interesting and very well thought out discussion with different members of the community. And we are very proud of the episode and hoping to do further episodes in the future similar to that. We have also done an episode recently exploring Ava Lance and the character of Ava in particular, who is, I think we agreed on that podcast, it's probably the healthiest relationship in the DC TV universe. And we explored how that relationship came to be, why it's so powerful, and what we're hoping for in the future. We definitely also planned their wedding.
Yeah, we did. You're welcome, Ava Lance.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Morgan, if you want to take the reins and do the banners for me so we can make this super profesh.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me just get in there.
I'm ready. Let's get this right. All right. Well, if you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. If you'd like to email us, you can do that at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. Make sure to write in and call in before Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, where we also have a Spotify playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the show. We're also on Radio Public and Podchaser. We're also listed at DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. And we're available on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher Radio. So if you have some time, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review over there. And if you're like, Rebecca, this is too much information, I cannot remember everything, you can just go to supergirlradio.com and you can find all the links to everything I just mentioned on the right side of the page. Beautiful. Thank you very much. And Morgan, should we get into your favorite part of every Supergirl Radio episode?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. This is the best part. It's where I talk about the DC TV podcast family of podcasts.
I was legit ready to read that scroll right there as fast as possible. I was about to do it. I was going to read it like end of a car commercial status.
Amy, would you like to please do the plug?
The honors?
Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast Networks. And if you also like The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, it's not all the way yet. Hold on. Titans, Doom Patrol, and Stargirl, Exclamation point.
Yay!
It did it very fast.
It wasn't fast enough for Amy's reading, which is usually not a problem for me. I usually say at least one of those podcasts twice. I'm like, and then also Stargirl. Have you heard of Stargirl? That one, maybe?
And I guess we should also mention DCTV After Dark.
Yes, you should also listen to DCTV After Dark.
Why is that not on the banner?
And Batwoman's also not on the banner.
There's a character limit. There's so many. There's so
many.
To be
That's
on
funny.
the banner.
All right.
Listen to all of those.
Yeah, so there's lots of really good podcasts. A lot of us have been on various different podcasts, and this is a wonderful network, y'all.
And we should mention that we have a DCTV Podcast Tee public store. So if you're in need of some new swag for your favorite TV show, we do have some merch actually in there from Legends of Tomorrow that we have some swag if you're interested in that. We have some Time Bureau and something called the help me out with this, the Time Bureau Crocheters. Is that how you say that?
Every stitch in order. Did they have a crochet club? Was that part of their book club?
I don't think so. It kind of looks like a field hockey stick, so it's like field hockey.
Clearly, no one here crochets. I think that's obvious from how confused we are.
Yeah, we have a lot of Legends merch from different time periods. We also have some Legion of Superheroes gear in the DCTV Podcast Tee public store. So if you're interested in that, go to supergirlradio.com. We have a link to the store at the top of the page. So definitely check that out. And we've also been told, Morgan, I think you'll take particular interest in this, but there's some DCTV podcast news coming soon, possibly tomorrow on Friday. So head over to dctvpodcast.com for that announcement. You can only guess what that means.
I'm assuming this means another podcast, and no, I reject this.
And I don't even know what's next. Like, what show is even left?
Morgan, I could just record. I actually looked up the document Rebecca so wonderfully wrote up. I could just record this all for you, like a TV announcer, and you could just play it every time.
Please do that.
I was just like my eyes became hearts.
All right, I'll count you. I'll count you in.
Are you really gonna do it? Okay, hold on.
Yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast Network, so if you're interested in The Flash, Black Lightning, Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman, Titans, Doom Patrol, Stargirl, Green Lantern, Strange Adventures, and the upcoming Superman and Lois series, or DCTV After Dark, make sure to follow DCTV Podcasts on social media and subscribe to the podcast mega feed if you want all those podcasts in one place.
Perfect. Nailed it. One take.
Morgan,
nailed it in
never
one.
have to do that ever again.
And I'm done. I'm retiring. I get out my sunglasses and I leave.
You're going to Aruba.
I go immediately to Aruba.
It's the JC Julius Caesar, y'all.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Amy.
Yes, we will definitely be using that. Thank you. All right. Well, you can find me if you want to keep up with me on social media on Instagram at The Derby Kid. And I also have a YouTube channel that you can find at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I recently hosted a Snyder Cut roundtable for the RT Snyder Cut YouTube channel with some familiar voices and faces to the two DCTV podcast listeners. Andy Bibact was with me, and Bill Meeks from Legends of Gotham was on there. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. We talked about zombies and the Snyder Cut teaser trailer and things of that nature. So if you're interested, definitely go check it out. I'll put a link to that video in I think there's a video in the video description for this live stream. There should be a link there, and we'll also put it in the show notes if you're just looking at the podcast episode. So definitely check that out.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mojotastic. Also as a co-host on the Legends of Tomorrow podcast. Who knew, right? And also as a co-host on DCTV After Dark, which we've determined, Sarah and I have talked about it and really thought about it. And we're like, we're probably a monthly podcast as we are too lazy to be bi-monthly. So
that's my girls.
There you go. But we're currently planning our next episode. I think we're going to be maybe talking a little Batwoman. So you should, now is a great time to subscribe. You can catch up. There haven't been that many.
And you know what's so fun? Our hiatus season, we thought we were also a bi-monthly podcast.
Remember that? That was fun.
We had one episode last month.
That was a fun time for all of us in all of our lives.
was, but we're trying.
We're trying. I think the effort is really what counts.
Mm-hmm. Well, on behalf of all Legends of Tomorrow podcast listeners, I would like to thank you for all of your diligent and hard work, especially for those of us who don't watch the show and just rely on the podcast for details about what's happening, so that
the
you
listeners
can
do all the work.
That's very true.
The listeners are very helpful in many ways. So I know they're probably as helpful on the Legends of Tomorrow podcast as they are on Supergirl Radio. All right, ladies. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until the next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
I'm still Morgan Glennon.
And would it be off brand if we got like a stay legendary or however you guys sign off it?
Yeah, Rebecca, you do it. Yeah.
Oh, so what is it? Is it just stay legendary?
Yeah. You can say it any way you want. Like you
any
can
way you want.
Into it any way you want. We've had people guests say it in different languages. Like go for it any way you want. You just finish it off with stay legendary.
All right. Well, on behalf of the legendary ladies of the Legends of Tomorrow podcast, stay legendary.
DCTV podcast. There's too many now! Exclamation point. Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Oh no!
Yeah. So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Oh, Helen Slater here. It's so fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!